Ladies, we are back. Welcome back. It is New Year's Day. Happy New Year, one and all. Hope you all had a good time spending the holidays with friends and family. Hope you all had some time to rest up, recover, let some injuries heal up. Had a lot of good food, and now it's back to business, ladies. First of the year, we are back, episode 2. Today we are making a little bit of chicken and corn chowder. So this is a great dish. Feeds a crowd. It's one big pot, so it's made in one single vessel, but it feeds a crowd. This recipe that we're going to be making today is easily good for 8 to 10 people, or it'll give you some leftovers to eat throughout the week. So always good to cook once and eat multiple times. So what we're going to do today, we're going to start things off with a little bit of bacon. So this is one package of bacon that we're going to be cutting up. This is, again, naturally smoked bacon. So ladies, when you are looking for bacon out there in the supermarket, please get yourselves a natural product, something that's naturally smoked, hormone and antibiotic free if you can, but something that's going to add a ton of flavor to the dish. All we want to do is just cut it up in fine strips and add it to our pot. Why bacon? Why not bacon is the question. For those of you who don't eat pork, we can always use turkey bacon, or just omit the bacon altogether and add a little bit of smoked paprika a little bit later on in the recipe, and that'll give you that same smokiness in the end product, just without the pork. But for those of you who do eat pork, by all means, please feel free to add a little bacon in there. It gives it a great result. A little bit of smokiness, a little bit of crispiness, just an extra dimension of flavor in the actual final product. So we're going to be using a lot of vegetables in today's dish. We're going to be using some onions, some bell pepper, a little bit of garlic, and we're going to be using a lot of corn. So we're going to start things off. Once we have our bacon sliced up, we're just going to toss this right into our pan. Hands are clean. Adriana, watching you. Alexis, I know you're thinking, it's got to be the other Alexis he's referring to. I'm referring to both of you. Wash those hands, make sure they're clean before we get on there and we do some cooking. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to raise the temperature of the pot, and we're going to start to render some of the fat out of the bacon. While we're doing that, we're going to get a couple of chicken breasts here as well, and we're going to add just a little bit of chicken to this recipe. A couple of big chicken breasts. We're just going to cut these up into smaller pieces so they cook a little bit quicker. There we are. We'll cut these into 3 pieces. Do the same thing with the other one. Start by getting that tender off. And there we are. So our chicken will wait. We'll just get this board off to the side. Give our hands a wash.
Make sure you wash your hands after handling meat.
Thank you, Daniela. All right. So we will get things, we'll give this just a quick little stir. Love cooking with bacon. The house smells great every time you do, and it adds a ton of flavor to whatever you're cooking it into. So I will just get a little dish for that. There we are. Keep that out of the way. So now we're going to start with our vegetables. So we've got a little bit of onion here. So this is 2 medium onions. We're going to get these cut up. We've got some bell pepper, some celery, some garlic, and a little chili pepper because Coach Joe likes it a little spicy. So we'll start off again. Keep those fingers out of the way, curl those fingers back, and we're just going to make some cuts into the onion as we slice it. Whoop, right down to the root end. We're going to keep that root intact just so that the onion doesn't slide all over the board and everything gets separated. So we'll give it a quick slice, quick dice. The size of the pieces are not that important. This is going to cook down. Everything's going to get soft. There we are. Our bacon's coming along nicely. Next piece of onion. There we are. Give that a quick chop. Any pieces that slide off, we'll just slice them up as well. Give our bacon a quick stir. All right. We'll let that go a little longer and keep cutting things up. There we are. Sharp knife and a good cutting board is all you need. There we are. All right, we'll just move this off to the side, and we'll get our celery as well. Give our bacon a little stir. All right. All right, we'll get our celery. Here we've got 4 stalks of celery. We'll cut this right down the middle, just to make these stalks a little bit thinner. There we are. And then we will give these just a fine chop. Now remember, this is just one option, one version. If there are other vegetables that you like, carrots, maybe a little bit of zucchini, maybe some leeks, we can always throw those in as well. This is just one suggestion. Feel free to alter the recipe to include any other vegetables that you like. Mushrooms work in this application as well. And the last of our celery. There we are. So after that, we've got a bell pepper as well. All of these vegetables have all been washed. When we're cooking, it just helps to get everything organized and ready in front of us ahead of time, so that as we're cooking, everything is right where we need it, when we need it. There we are. So we'll start with our bell pepper. Let's move this guy out of the way. All we want to do here is, again, take the sides of the bell pepper off, leaving all of the seeds and all of that white membrane inside. Those are all things we don't want to eat. There we are. And we'll just tidy this up a little bit. Take off some of that extra white pith that's kind of spongy, it's kind of bitter. We'll just get rid of that. There we are. And one last piece. Now for this, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this up into long strips. And we're going to dice that up as well, just as we did with all of our other vegetables. Remember to keep those fingers out of the way. Don't worry about the speed of the cutting. you get everything organized ahead of time, with a little bit of practice, the speed will come. Just as we see in training with our dribbling, the more we practice, the more we build that muscle memory, and the speed will come. So we'll continue on with our bell pepper. There we are. There we are. One last piece. We are, and the base. Give our bacon one more stir. Couple of cloves of garlic. We'll just peel these quickly. Take off the top. Take off the root end. Make a little incision. And that garlic will come right out of the shell. Right out of the paper. Put that off to the side. Same thing on the second clove. There we go. And there we are. We'll give this a little crush so it's not running all over the board. And this way we can give it a quick fine dice as well. All right. Now we're getting somewhere with our bacon here. Another couple of minutes, this will be ready to pop off to the side, and then we'll get our chicken right in the pan to cook as well. Last but not least, we've got our chili pepper. We're just going to take off that stem end. Now, if you don't like a lot of really aggressive heat, you can just cut this down the middle, scrape out the seeds and that membrane that attaches the seeds to the pepper called the pith. That is what holds all the heat to the pepper. Coach Joe likes it spicy. So we're going to leave all that in, and we're just going to slice this nice and fine. And there we are. All right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to take a little break. We're going to allow our bacon to crisp up, and then we're going to pull it off. And then when I rejoin you, we're going to be getting that bacon, not that bacon, but that chicken rather, right in the pan to sear off a little bit. And we are back. Our bacon is nice and crispy. We're just going to drain that from the fat. And we're going to put their bacon off to the side. And then what we're going to do is we are going to sear off that chicken in the rendered bacon fat. If you're not using bacon, a little bit of olive oil is all you need to get things started. There we are. We'll just increase the heat. All right. We'll put our bacon off to the side. And now with our chicken breasts, we'll just lay these out on the plate. We'll season them quickly, a little bit of salt and pepper, and we will get that right into the pan. Both sides. Now ladies, you know there's one clean hand and one hand on the chicken. We don't want to be going into our seasoning with our chicken laden fingers. That's the best way to get yourself sick. So a little bit of salt and pepper, and we'll get this right off to the pan. All right. Now, if you're not comfortable putting the meat in there with your hands, don't worry, just use the tongs. But before you touch anything, wash those hands. Make sure you wash them well, lots of soap. And there we are. Move these around, make sure they're not sticking. And what we want to do is get a nice bit of color on our chicken. Just increase the heat a little bit. Oh, looks like we have a little piece here. We'll just put that back in there. There we go. Oh. That smells nice. Alright, we're going to let these brown off, and we are going to be back in a short minute. Alright, we are back. Our chicken is nicely brown, nicely caramelized. We're just going to pull this out of the pot. Lower the heat down here a little bit. Alright. Now, most important thing, this is a clean plate, not the same plate that the chicken was on previously. That's been put in the dishwasher. So we're just going to set this aside. We're going to let that cool for a sec. And now we're going to take all of our vegetables and we're just going to throw everything into the pot. Everybody into the pool. There we are. And we're just going to sweat these vegetables down. All of these are going to cook now in all of the juices from the chicken, in the fat from the bacon. I've added no additional fat, no additional olive oil. I think I had just enough in the pan to get all of our vegetables sweated down. So we're just going to move these around the pan. We're going to season these up quick. Heat up a little bit. Season these up. Just a little bit of salt and pepper. There we are. And I'm just going to switch up and get myself a silicone spatula to be able to stir these guys around. Now the beauty of putting these vegetables into the pan, you can have all these little brown bits. If we've done it right, all these little brown bits, caramelized meat juices at the bottom of the pot. When we put some salt and pepper in to these vegetables, it's going to pull the water out of the vegetables and it's going to pull all of those caramelized juices off the bottom of the pot. And that's what's going to add a ton of flavor to the soup. So we will just let these go for about another 2 or 3 minutes. And then we will add in the star of the show, our corn. And we are back. Our vegetables are nicely translucent. Our onions are starting to soften up. Our peppers are softening up. All the liquid is starting to leach out from the vegetables, and all that liquid is going to flavor our soup as well. What we're going to do now is we're going to add a little bit of corn. When I made this soup, you know, kind of late summer, early fall, when the temperature starts to change, there's corn on the cob all over the place. It's plentiful. You can buy it absolutely anywhere, and it's really at peak season. So what I've done is I've simply, in the past, I've peeled the corn. I've basically cut it right off the cob and I've put it into the pot. Today I'm going to be using frozen corn. Obviously it's out of season, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with things like frozen corn, frozen peas. They are picked at the height of the season. They're individually quick frozen. This is a bag of organic frozen corn. Absolutely fantastic product. So what we're going to do is we're just going to open this up and we're going to add probably a good pound of frozen corn to our pot. And this is really what's going to form the basis for our corn chowder. Just going to put this off to the side. We're going to give this a quick stir. Get it right in there. And what we want to do is just start to soften up that corn as well. And get it incorporated with all of the other vegetables that we have here in the pot. There we are. We're going to let that go for about 4 or 5 minutes, and we will be right back. All right, we are back. So our corn has started to soften slightly, giving that a quick stir in our pot. So now all of our vegetables are coming together, and now our soup is about to take shape. So what we're going to do, we're going to start by getting our bacon back into the pot. Get that back in. We'll get our chicken cut up. So this is now cool enough to handle, but we'll give this just a very quick chop. There we are. Oh, it smells absolutely fantastic. Get our 2 chicken tenders here cut up. And our last piece. It's a big pile of chicken. We'll just run our knife through it roughly. Cut it up a little further. There we are. We'll get all this back into our plate. And right into the pot. There. Pieces fill out. And we will get this right into the pot, including any of the juices, the resting juices that happen to settle on the plate. There we are. Give our hands a quick wash. And now we will get our stock into the pot and some of our seasonings. So what I have here is about 8 cups of chicken stock. If you're going to buy chicken stock, I would highly recommend either get the one with reduced sodium, so 30, 40, 50% less salt, or even no salt at all. This is salt free because I want to control the amount of salt that I put into each of the dishes that I make. And so what we're going to do is we're going to season as we go. I'm going to get my eight cups of chicken stock into the pot. There we are. We're going to give this a quick stir. Oh, look at that. Look at that. And there we are. And now, because this is a chowder, we are going to give this a little bit of cream. Now keep in mind, we're not going to put a lot of cream in. We're only going to put about a cup and a half of cream, but this is going to feed 8 to 10 people. So don't get hung up on the fact that there's a little bit of cream in there, a little bit of bacon. There's a lot to spread around. So, go to the fridge. We'll get our cream. This is 35% cream. If we are going to use cream, and let's make sure we use the good stuff. So, a little cream in there. And we are going to get a little bit creative in terms of how we thicken this. It's not going to be just with the cream. If we wanted to thicken this just with cream, we'd have to put a whole lot of cream in there. And there's a creative way that I found to be able to thicken a soup that uses some grated potato, and the starch from the potato is going to thicken the soup, so that way we only use a little bit of cream. We still get that mouthfeel, we still get that consistency, but we have a much healthier option in terms of being able to thicken the chowder. So we are going to let this go for about another 15 or 20 minutes. Before we do, we're going to get a little bit of dry thyme in there as well. There we are. There we are. We'll give that a quick stir. And we will let this simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes before we add our potato. Which means I will see you in about 5 to 10 minutes. All right, we are back. Our soup has been simmering for about 5 or 6 minutes. Now we still want to keep some integrity to the vegetables, some level of crunch and texture to the vegetables. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grate our potatoes. These are just 2 regular white flesh potatoes. I've got myself a box grater, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grate these potatoes on kind of the second biggest side here. So what we're going to do is skin and all, plenty of vitamins in the skin, so we want to make sure we keep that and preserve as much of that as possible. And all we're going to do is just give these a grate. These will take no time to cook. They will melt right into the soup, and the starch in the potato will thicken the soup. So we'll just give this a quick grate. Just watch your fingers, make sure your fingers are flat. There we are, and if we have a little bit of extra here that won't go through, that's not a problem. We'll just leave that off to the side. So between 2 and 3 medium potatoes should be enough to thicken this volume of soup. If your hands get a little wet, they may get slippery, so just be careful, be mindful. You know what, we're going to go with 1 more potato. These potatoes have all been washed and scrubbed well with a brush, so we make sure we get all the dirt off them. But this is a low-cal and very healthy way to thicken a soup without adding any additional cream, any additional fat. Just using the starch in the potato to do that work for us. And there we are. So what we'll do is we'll scrape off our grater. Nothing left inside. We want to make sure we get all that into the soup. We'll just leave that in the sink and get all of this right into the soup. And within another 5 or 10 minutes or so, this should all be melted right into the soup, and your soup will be noticeably thicker, and it'll have that famous chowder consistency. There we are. We'll give this a quick stir. Oh, much better. Now, as this is coming up to the point where we're almost done, what we will do is we will chop up a little bit of parsley as well. I've got a bunch of parsley here that I've washed thoroughly, given it a good rinse under the tap, and we're going to give it a quick chop, and we're going to put it into the soup as well. And then we are essentially done and ready for dinner. So let's let this simmer by itself. Let's get the rest of our potato, toss that out, and we'll get our parsley finely chopped and into our soup. And this is something where stems and all are okay, as long as we chop them up fine. Parsley is one of those herbs that's going to give us a good bit of freshness, and those stems will give us a little bit of crunch as we're eating. Now we'll give this we are. And now we will get all of that right into the soup. Right into the soup. We'll clean off the knife. We'll give our hands one final wash. And then we will taste for seasoning. There we are. Right? So now you'll notice, even as that's been simmering away, look how thick this has gotten. And this is all because of the starch in that potato. Just think how much cream we would have had to put in to get this same consistency. So now one quick taste, we'll adjust for salt and pepper, and then we're ready to eat. And as is the case in Coach Joe's house, whenever there's a big pot of soup on the stove, there's usually a big loaf of bread that's just come out of the oven, because soup without bread is nothing.
Yep.
So we'll get a quick spoon, give it a quick taste. That's good. That's good. A little bit more salt. A little bit more pepper. And we will give that a quick stir. Oh, this looks good. I wish you could smell this. Absolutely fantastic. As the weather's getting a little colder, we got some snow outside. When you come in from a long evening of training, or you just come back from school and you want to sit down to a nice, hearty, wholesome dinner, it doesn't get much better than this. I think we are done. I'm just going to shut that off. Ladies, I do hope you try this out. It is an absolutely fantastic recipe. I do have a little challenge for you. Once we do get to 50 likes and subscribers, so if you have it, please do like and please subscribe. But if once we get to 50 likes and subscribes, I have an absolutely killer dessert recipe for you. That once we get to that level, that's what we'll post. So we'll do a quick taste test here. And I do want to show you what this looks like once it comes out of the pot. Like I said, this is easily enough for 8 to 10 people. Look at that. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. Give this one a try, and we'll see you on the next episode.